Lucky Lefty podcast. The Onora boys are in the building. I am Shaun Davis, that dude, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik Zaire. Brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com, the premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so
responsibly.
You must do it responsibly. And we're on CFE Nation, talking challenges in Raleigh, coming up on Saturday at 11 a.m. Central Time, noon Eastern Time, as the Fighting Irish invade,
Put that down.
take on the NC State Wolfpack. We're on CFE Nation, and it's brought to you by Twisted Tea. Don't forget about our audio edibles we give you every day. We dropped another gem, the relationship between Marcus Freeman and Sam Hartman, and how it's brought comfort to the Notre Dame program. That just dropped over at Apple Podcasts and Spotify exclusively on CFB Nation. Lucky Lefty Podcast, home of the misguided passion. You already know we spin it different.
Right.
Just got through listening to Marcus Freeman. Updates. Devin Ford still in concussion protocol.
Hey, take your time, Devin. Get healthy.
No need to rush.
No need to rush.
No need to rush. When you come back, you might be on the other side of the running.
Yeah, you might be on the other side. And they play some musical chairs in the room. You know?
Yeah, I mean, you might not be as close to the film as you once were.
More towards the Gatorades and the waters in the back. That's okay. That's okay. You work your way back up.
So, before we get into it, Left wanted this to be the LL question of the day. How far is too far when it comes to food? How far is too far when it comes to food? So, I was sharing with him I had just had a nice cheese grits, turkey bacon for breakfast. And he applauded and said, good, that means you don't put sugar on your grits.
That's right.
Like some people. And I said, who does that? That's pretty much cream of wheat. You might as well just make some cream of wheat. But then I shared with him that, when I was younger, my mom would make like apple pies, homemade apple pies, and apple turnovers. And she would melt cheddar cheese.
Oh, melted now?
On the top. And he became like indignant almost. So the LL question of the day: what's too far in food? How far are you willing to take your palate when it comes to, condiment creations and additions to certain dishes, and what you will try and what you won't try? How far is too far? I don't think the whole cheddar cheese apple pie thing was really that big of a deal. Left overreacted. And I'm not suggesting that anyone else tried. It's my own taste buds. My mom let me taste it when I was a kid. It stayed with me. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to keep doing this. I like it. I like it. What's the craziest combination? Craziest food combination that you've tried thus far? Let us know. I mean, Left posts some crazy recipes on Facebook, some crazy combinations of food. So for him to kind of turn his nose up at my cheddar cheese on my apple pie, it's actually comical in a sense.
How?
Because some of the recipes you post, bro,
you acting like this is a cheeseburger or a quiche or an omelet. This is a delicacy. Apple pies go back to the beginning of dessert time. And there's many different toppings you can go with. Whipped cream, the ice cream, the cinnamon dazzle frazzle. You could even mix it and do different things with the crust. But to add cheese, I mean, yeah, it's dairy, but is dairy really dairy? You wouldn't put no ice cream on no tacos, right? You wouldn't put no whipped
ice cream on tacos.
It's dairy.
So basically, you're saying like vanilla ice cream as a substitute for sour cream. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it's. I
Hold
mean,
on,
come
see,
on,
I
you
got
gotta
me
talk
one.
about a
I got
classic.
me one.
A classic. He really said a classic.
We have a winner.
Oh my good, a classic.
Left, left,
Classic to what? What is
left,
it?
left. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You, bro. We got another one. We got another one.
This is this is too much. This is too much.
Look, man. I'm just saying.
It's what is the taste of the cheese? Because I don't know if it's savory or what is
First
that?
of all, see, it has to be a certain cheese. You're not about to put mozzarella cheese on there. You're not. It has to be cheddar cheese. Has to be cheddar cheese, right? Because that cheddar gives that kick along with the sweetness of the apples, along with that nice buttery crust. As Clyde said, it's a classic. Mayo and coffee. Come on, now y'all. Now we're being ridiculous. Now we're being ridiculous. Now we're being.
See, the mayo and coffee goes along with the cheese on the apple pie. It's just too different. It's too different. But I'm telling you, I mean, y'all got an interesting taste. I mean, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't try it, but I don't know.
Look, man. Ah, we got another one.
That's food taboo. That's like Sam Hartman throwing across the field on the Cardinal sin. You can't do that.
Come on, man. Just admit that one day you're gonna be sitting there the next time you got an apple pie in front of you, and you're gonna say, you know what? That dude Shaun said cheddar cheese. Let me go ahead and try this. Let
See,
me
that's the
just
thing. I
try.
don't know if I will run into a situation where I find cheese and the apple pie in the same sentence.
Who doesn't have cheese in their refrigerator, bro? Come on now.
Not at the same time. I mean, you go to dinners where they have apple pies. They don't have cheese sitting next to it. So
Well, the next time you're in your actual establishment and someone makes a nice little homemade apple pie or apple turnover, just give it a try. Just give it a try. Do what Marcus Freeman did when he dipped into the transfer portal. Just give it a try. You never know. You might get a Sam Hartman experience.
yeah, it'll be hard. It'll be hard, man.
I'm just saying, that's all. I'm not saying go and get you like two apple pies from McDonald's, bring them back to the crib and throw some cheddar cheese on top. That actually might
That's
be
how I
fire
think. That's
though.
what I think you do. That's how I
No, I
be.
don't. No, 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 I don't. No, I don't. No, I don't. No. My mom makes pies. I wait for her to make the desserts. And then I try.
Okay, so you have to have the professional make it. It can't just
Oh,
be
heck
any
yeah.
pie with cheese.
She's the one that got me hooked on it. Now, people do dip their McDonald's fries in the Sundays. I've seen that. I've seen people dip their McDonald's fries in the Sunday. Oh, I never knew this. People actually put mayo in coffee. That is a thing.
So that's a thing though.
Yeah, mayonnaise in coffee. That's interesting. That's very interesting. So yesterday we talked about Sam Hartman being 1-2 against North Carolina State, 6 interceptions, all that stuff. Jared Parker was asked about it. His teammates were asked about it. Today, Marcus Freeman was asked about taking freshmen on the road for the first time. And I wanted to get your thoughts on what it's like your first road game as a true freshman.
It's definitely a little different, just because you're getting into what it means to be a college football player at a high level. You're on the road traveling, where you may have some weeks that are back to back on road weeks, but your first road game is always exciting because you're getting on the plane and you're trying to get your scheduling. They preach about your scheduling and where you got to be at what time. Then the hotel rules apply and you got your roommate, get the room key, got the dinner. So everything is laid out on schedule for you. It's an exciting experience for young guys getting a routine of it. Got to know when to go to bed. Some guys are up studying, some guys playing the games, all different things going on at night, but you got to be in that room. And so, adjusting to that and getting the right things together. Notre Dame always used to play prime time late night games, so we stayed at a hotel all day pretty much.
Mm.
And then, so getting ready for the game, prime time is a lot different than the 12 o'clock start.
You good, left?
Oh, okay. So yeah, so it's better than a 12 o'clock start. So I really do. I think it's for the freshmen. It's an experience altogether. You learn how to get into that football on the road mode. It's different than being at home where everything's a little more comfortable. Now the hotels may be a little different. Riding to the games a little different. It's a lot more structured procedure on getting on the field. And you got to be on time. So mentally, you want to get your routine on away games as a freshman, and you learn a lot from the older guys that kind of guide you through that. That's why you have an older roommate usually.
Who were you paired with on the road your
I
first trip?
always had the other quarterbacks. It was never
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was it was never the starter. It was like the other guy, like the other guy in the room. So I never had the Shaun. I would have like Brandon or something.
I would venture to say that, and I was listening to Dave Doran yesterday, left. You know what's so amazing to me? Doran basically, mo- he basically begged the students to be loud on Saturday.
Sound
I
like
mean,
Syracuse. Sound like Syracuse.
from last year, right? He
You
was,
begging and
man.
pleading for any extra motivation.
And I was sitting there saying to myself, like, yeah, you know what's headed to you.
You're gonna need a little bit more than on the field guidance. You're gonna need some extra crowd noise. You're gonna need some things going on because it's
And
gonna be a little harder this game than other games.
and yesterday we talked about places that we really talked about venues that were intimidating and how there really weren't a lot of just flat out intimidating venues in college football. And I don't believe North Carolina State has an intimidating venue, but say the freshman wide receivers. What would be the biggest thing for them? Communication with Sam Hartman, hearing the play, like, is
It's
that the
really
biggest
just
thing?
it's really just the moment, being in the moment, staying in the moment. You guys are at a power five that's, traditionally on the higher end scale of travel and getting to places at Notre Dame because we're not just travel regionally. This is not like we're an ACC team where we go to North Carolina State and we jump to South Carolina. I mean, then we jump to Duke and we jump to Pittsburgh or nothing. One week we might be in California. One week we may be in Texas. One week we may be on the Northeast. One week we may be in the Midwest. One week we may be in the South. So for us, the whole travel experience is it's like we're professionals. We do this at a high scale, do it at an elite level. So for a freshman receiver, especially when we get there, it turns into any other experience when it comes to knowing and doing your job. Notre Dame is very big on preaching doing your job, being able to stay in the moment, talk about yourself. So for a freshman receiver this year, particularly, it's a lot easier. You got Sam Hartman guiding the ship. So even if there was doubts, you would just have to respond by looking to Sam. He's gonna get you in the right spot, and then you just execute. If this was a younger guy, Kenny Minchie or a Carr or even Angeli, obviously this would be a little more frazzled because of the quarterback. But Sam's been here plenty of times. He knows his conference. He knows the defensive coordinators. He knows what they're generally trying to do to him on a consistent basis. So if any time to be a freshman, this is the time. You got the guy with all the answers as your quarterback. And then on top of that, the way we travel and just Marcus Freeman's uh, efforts and enthusiasm. I mean, it doesn't feel too much different away game as it does a home game. Like we said, this is not top three intimidating places to play. I'm not saying it's a walk in the park, but it does give us anything a little bit of an edge when you got the crowd booing you. You know, guys are talking stuff to you, especially when momentum happens and things in the game change. But for Notre Dame, traveling experiences on away games shouldn't make that much of a difference.
Heck, the comfort that Sam Hartman brings to the offense, like you said, and Marcus Freeman brings to the program, taking his team on the road. Um, I mean, look, it's a difference between going to Ireland and it being a home game.
Yeah, like we went to Ireland and it was a home game. Come on.
Yeah, and your first real road trip. It's a totally different vibe. You walk into the stadium, the opposing team, warm ups, early start.
But then that's the other thing. Teams don't do a great job of making it intimidating. You walk in
But
there
Notre
and
Dame is everyone's Super Bowl.
in terms of like the pregame antics. Some teams make it hard to go in because they on your side of the field or they bumping you when you get into the tunnel, they chatting at you. These teams are so vanilla and so personality less that it's like you're not going against nobody until you get into the game and they don't do much talking. So it's kind of standard procedure. But from an intimidating factor, there's not too many places in college football where you just get intimidated by just the groundswell of everything going on, including the team chatting at you, barking at you. It's just not the same. Now the Michigan State rivalry back with Devin Bush and they were stomping on the field and then they collide and then the lot. That's intimidating. That's what makes the games a little more.
Yeah.
If I was a freshman receiver, I'd be like, I'm gonna have my head on the swivel. They got Devin Ford might cause an altercation before we get our, you know what I'm saying? So none of that psychologically goes on in this type of game. I mean, they're looking to play their best and hoping they surprise us. So they're trying to keep it calm, cool, and collected till kickoff. Like they're gonna show us something we haven't seen on film. But from a psychological standpoint, I feel like we're at an advantage because we are who we are and we're coming into your hometown. Probably sold more tickets than you would on a standard early game this year because it's Notre Dame. So we have all the things laid in our favor. We just got to execute.
It was cool to see a lot of the freshmen play last week towards the end of the game. Uh, Brennan Vernon gets in. You see Tyson Ford. Thank God they moved him back to the big outside position. Because, I mean, trying to move him inside, and he was a pass rusher slash big end all the way through high school. He just
Right.
seems more comfortable in that position. I don't know if this is a game where you're gonna get a lot of third stringers coming in the game in the fourth quarter. Now anything can happen. Notre Dame could come with an A game and
And
just
we could do our thing and
man
you know
later wood.
the way we got it going, it's possible. It's possible for us to go out there and roll over them 35 points in the third,
Hmm.
leave them with like 10, maybe 14, and we can start putting some other guys in. But the potential is there. But I also agree with you. This is not a game where we're probably like game planning for our third strings to get in either. We're banking on it. I don't think we're banking on it. I think we're banking on a full, complete game from our first, second units, and then we'll trickle in some threes depending on how the fourth quarter goes. But you want all your guys to play this one the whole game because next week we probably gonna have all our guys playing. I'm not all our guys, but our first, second playing the most of the time anyway.
Well, next week is Central Michigan, and then it's the big one. Ohio State comes to South Bend on the 23rd. But this being a Super Bowl type atmosphere for North Carolina State, what's the biggest mental? What's Marcus Freeman saying?
What is Marcus Freeman's?
Yeah, is it the quintessential survive the first 5 minutes? You know they're gonna come out, they're gonna be aggressive, they're gonna be emotional, get through that, stay efficient, do us, do what we do, or is Notre Dame just coming out like, yo, we coming for your heads? It doesn't matter, because it's almost like a boxing match, right? Are we coming like the first round of Errol Spence and Crawford, where we really just kind of seeing what each other has, and then all of a sudden, like Crawford, Notre Dame just kind of starts to dominate.
I think that the biggest thing Marcus Freeman can do about this game is creating motivation, creating some type of fictional story to motivate and inspire these guys because it's hard to look past the fact that we know that we're better than this team. That's just human nature. We know we're better. We're not hard to act like we're not. However, Marcus Freeman as a head coach, his responsibility and why I think it's not only a hard position, but it's a well-paid position for good reason, is because he has to find a way, knowing that this team isn't as good as us, find a way to create a fictional story for us to be inspired by, to where we can be internally motivated to not overlook or go into this game underrating this team. Because obviously you don't want to overlook anybody, but you want to be, and overlooking means you're not as motivated because you think it's just going to be handed to you. Marcus Freeman can't let us relax, especially on our rise in efficiency and consistency that we've shown, because this is where we have to put the bricks to wood and be able to put the things together to make this happen. So a lot of that's going to have to come from what is Marcus Freeman going to create as a story, as a narrative to get this team ready to play.
I think that most of the time, when you think about how Notre Dame has dealt with that, as you said before, the difference is the comfort level at the quarterback position, right? Um, I don't know, even if they get behind, I wouldn't worry. If they get behind early,
Yeah, I'm not worried. Not worried. I wouldn't. If it would be a lot for me to be worried in general with this team because we have so many things. That's like other teams have to really play beyond themselves to really put us away. So if a team is showing an effort that's greater than what they already give on a week to week basis, that means you earned it. That means you earned it. I don't think any lackluster performance is going to be able to beat us this year because we're firing on all cylinders. We have all the right pieces in the right places to ensure that you're going to have to work for this dub.
yeah.
I don't think we're in a situation where we're gonna get surprised, blown out, or we're gonna, play so sloppy that the other team is like the Duke Clemson game. I don't think we'll look like Clemson in the Duke Clemson game where we're just fumbling on the one, doing things that make us look like a very young team. I think if any team is gonna beat us, it's gonna take a Herculean effort, which teams on the schedule that we play have some Superman on their team. They got a Caleb Williams. He got enough in the tank to overcome a Notre Dame consistent program. But those are the games we're looking forward to. These games like North Carolina State, we know we're better. We know we're in a better position. We know we're more consistent. It's just a matter of how do we motivate ourselves to continue being consistent, knowing that the challenge isn't up to where some of these other games might be.
Lucky Lefty podcast, as always, we say we are on CFE Nation, presented by Twister T. Move forward, and we talk about Jared Parker and Marcus Freeman. I think one of the biggest challenges for both of them coming into this game will be the weather. And what is it going to be like, right? If it's wet, you've been there when it was raining in a monsoon and you've had a coach go crazy and just throw the ball all over the place. With Marcus Freeman, I doubt very seriously if we have inclement weather that Notre Dame gets outside of themselves and tries to go air raid. It actually, in my opinion, hurts North Carolina State with them loving to open it up and spread things out with Brennan Armstrong. It affects them more if it rains than it affects Notre Dame, in my opinion.
No, you're right. It definitely affects them more than it would us because we got more ways to win. We know that North Carolina State has to depend on their quarterback to win. If he go out there and lay an egg and throw 150 yards and a couple picks, cancel Christmas. They might get blown out by 100 points. They're depending on him at least getting beyond his average, which is what, 220, 230 or something. He's got to be in the 330 plus, 4 or 5 touchdowns. He got to look like Superman, which is good for us because that's where we are as a team. It is going to take a lot to beat us. And if you're only one dimensional, that one dimension has got to be pretty dang good. Pretty dang good.
Yeah.
So Brennan Armstrong has to play beyond himself, which is, we'll probably get a first quarter of them guys coming out playing inspired, but they have to do it for 4 quarters, which I don't think they can do. But either way it goes, rain, sleet, snow, thunderstorms, sand, monsoons, whatever, we can run the football.
That's a given.
So the rain ain't going to stop running the football. It may stop the throwing. But if we had to do run game versus run game, North Carolina State doesn't want to do that. So they better hope it's sunny and clear skies if they want a chance. If they want a chance. And for us, we got to be efficient in whatever situation comes. So if we have to run the win and throw some play actions behind it, we got to do that. If we got to be able to throw the win and do some runs in some crucial situations and 4-minute drives or getting into the red zone, getting into the end zone, we need to do that. But let's not have one way of winning, having all these available ways of doing it. We're not like all these other teams that need their quarterback to play tremendously, their running game to support it. We need to be able to be versatile and finding ways to win. That way we're ready for all situations. Because what we do against North Carolina State to win the game may not be the way we need to win the game against Ohio State, but we need to be good at doing both ways. Because the way we can do it to stay on top and to keep guys on their toes, especially defensive coordinators, is that they'll look at film and be like, okay, we think we got the answer because against North Carolina State, they ran the ball and that's how they won. But if you look back at Michigan, Central Michigan, they threw the ball and won. So if I'm Ohio State, I'm like, damn, what am I looking to take away? Because they're winning in every way. Right? They're winning in every way. So Jared Parker has to do a good job of not being monotonous, not getting bored. I believe if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But when you got these many resources, having multiple ways of winning, backup ways, go-to things, when in doubt, this is what we can pull out. Those is how you become the teams that last in November and end up getting those January 6th bowl games and playoffs. Hell, look at Georgia. Who would have thought a running team like Georgia could put up 63 points and 6 passing touchdowns in the national championship game. Nobody thought that they was going to do that. Did you think that Stetson Bennett was going to throw 6 touchdowns in the championship? No way. That's not how Georgia usually wins. That's not how Georgia usually wins. They usually stomp them out on defense and then run the clock out with the football. But they said even the national championship game, we're going to give y'all a little bit different. We're going to give you 6 passing touchdowns. How you like that? That made Georgia after that game look unbeatable. What are you going to do with that? How are you going to stop that Georgia team when they can pass for 6 touchdowns, run for a whole bunch of yards and get some touchdowns, and then got a defense that's not allowing you to do what you want? So that's how we have to be, surprise us. We know that we were surprised, and we knew we had some talent on the team when we threw for 500-plus yards against Oklahoma State in the Fiesta Bowl. I never thought it was in us. I didn't think it was in us to do that. I didn't think he was capable of doing that. 500 yards from a backup guy from Wisconsin in a bowl game, we was able to do that. So that showed me that we have talent on the team, and we have other ways to win when we are executing it.
Lucky Lefty podcast. So ultimately, championship teams have so many options when it comes to ways to win games. You were talking left, and I remember in high school, like picking up the paper. This is in the middle of the Bulls championship dynasty. I remember picking up the paper and looking at the box score, and Dickie Simpkins would have 20 points. And then another game, I would pick up the paper, and then Tony Kukoc would have 20 off the bench. Then I pick up the paper the next day, and Rodney McCray would have 17 off the bench. And it was just like, dude, it was just crazy. Like, the constants were so good that at any point, this person could kill you because the constants were so good.
That's how our defensive line is, in my opinion. We got a bunch of solid dudes, but because they're all solid, any game, Jordan Patello can pop on the scene. Jason Onyé can do something crazy, win you something. John Baptiste may have 3 sacks that game just because it's Ohio State, or they just singled him up because they focused on doubling Riley Mills or something. This, and because it's such a overall athleticism and production that we're getting, if I'm an offensive coordinator, it's hard to put a finger on which defender specifically outside of Ben Morrison, where I'm like, we have to stop him and then we can play better. With this defense, say you don't want to double the end.
Yeah.
You want to get Jordan Patello under control. Well, you letting somebody else, Howard Cross, Jason Onyé, Riley Mills, Tyson Ford may get in a couple rotations where they get those one-on-ones and, oh, yeah, now you seeing our talent.
Yeah.
Now you seeing that you can't just double anybody. You got to play uniformly across the board, or we're just going to be better than you in certain spots because we have the depth. And that's what makes it so beautiful as a team, like you said. The Bulls got Jordan, Dennis, and Pippen. That's a constant. But you fall asleep, you might have Steve Kerr hit you up for 20 in a game winner. You're like, God.
I forgot about Steve Kerr.
Yeah, you turn around and be like, dang it. How did we let Steve Kerr kill us? We done focused so much on Michael Jordan, Pippen, Rodman, and then Steve Kerr hit the game winner and had 18 and just been killing us. That's Notre Dame. Jordan Greathouse had 2 touchdowns. Nobody in Vegas could have predicted that. Hell, let alone he play that much. Because, we good for not playing no freshmen.
Oh, man.
So for us to have Jordan Greathouse score 2 touchdowns, everybody looking like, dang, we're looking through the program. That's not JT. That's not Deion Coley. That's not a familiar face. And
Yeah.
we put in production like that. I just can only imagine what other defenses are thinking. Ohio State was like, damn, they looking like us. They popping receivers on the scene, and we thought Chris Tyree was the go-to guy. So it is setting up to be nice.
We have a special guest that's coming to the podcast, Lucky Lefty Podcast, CFB Nation, brought to you by Twisted Tea, Apple Podcast, Spotify, home of the misguided passion. You already know we spin it different. He is the co-host of Locked On Wolfpack, Locked On ACC, with our girls C Squared. You know, our girl C Squared. She has a little crush on Marcus Freeman.
Marcus Freeman got that effect now.
Oh man, it's so funny hearing her talk about it too. But we are pleased to welcome to the Lucky Lefty Podcast family. I got Kent Gibbs from Locked On ACC. Kent, welcome to the Lucky Lefty Podcast, my friend.
What's going on, folks? I'm excited to be here, and I too have a crush on Marcus Freeman. So that makes all of the Locked On ACC. You know that. Hey, listen, I can admit when a man is beautiful. That's a beautiful brother. Okay. Any man that know how to, and I'm gonna tell you this: everybody is surprised by how he's crushing it and recruiting. Any man that knows how to find a good barber in South Bend, Indiana, you understand me? That man said, if I got to go up to Benton Harbor up in Michigan to get me a cut, I'm going to find me a cut. And he did it. And he did it. So, you know, we got to give him love.
Oh, man. Before we hop into this matchup, man, and some other ACC talk, you excited about your guys opening up the NFL schedule tonight, man, at Arrowhead?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As a Lions fan, I can tell you this. I've been there for 0-16, okay? And people always ask me.
Yeah,
they always say, "Oh, that must have been tough." Baby, I was a poor kid growing up in Detroit. 0-16 was the best thing that could have happened. They couldn't give away those tickets. You walk in there with $10 and you down there sitting by the players. You almost talking to John Kittner. Hey man, how y'all doing? Y'all all right? Oh no, I'm not on the team. I'm just here. Y'all. Good to see you.
Did they give you all the perfect attendance tickets in school as well?
Oh, listen, let me tell you something. They gave away with Big Macs at Burger King. They gave them things away with Happy Meal. I'm telling you, the Lions were trying to get people in Ford Field by any means necessary. See, some games got blacked out on TV, and so everybody's like, oh, it must have been tough being a Detroit fan. No, if you wanted to go and you had a couple hours, just go ahead and go on down there. You know, I vividly remember I grew up on West Warner Greenfield. You catch the 22 bus down where you get the Grand River. You catch the Grand River all the way down to the stadium. And you in there. You didn't have to pay for a ticket. They wasn't going to pat you down at the gates. Oh, you're not supposed to be here. Just come on. We know.
Fill it up.
So now we got Motor City Dan Campbell rolling. We got Jared Goff may not be able to push the ball further than 20 yards downfield, but I'll tell you what, in 19 and under, he's surgical with this thing, Jake. He's surgical with it. Okay, so I'm excited about the Lions. I'm excited about seeing them open up the season in Arrowhead. It's a big challenge, but you know, Chris Jones, keep holding out as long as you need to till you get paid, brother. Get paid. It's a disservice to all the D tackles. You know, I'm a former D tackle myself, Chris. You sit out till they pay you. Travis Kelce, you rest that knee. Travis Kelce, you rest that knee. It's week 1. It's a long season, brother. It's a long season. You know, we don't want to see you get hurt. I care about you, Travis. I care about you. Okay? Take care of yourself. Sit out this game, okay? Pat, I know you got the ankle thing going on from the Super Bowl. I don't know if you got it sorted out. You know what I mean? You can sit out too. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, you know. That's right. But no, I'm excited for the challenge. I think it's going to be a great game. And at the end of the day, I just want to see a really good game to start the season off. And I think it'll be that.
Lucky Lefty Podcast, Shaun Davis, the original Lucky Lefty himself, Malik, Zaire. We are pleased to have Ken Gibbs, co-host of Locked On ACC. Let's jump into this matchup. Dave Dorn has been pretty adamant talking about how important the atmosphere is going to be. Inclement weather might play in this game with some rain being in the forecast. You guys come off, or North Carolina State comes off a nice win over Connecticut. They gave up some big gains in the run game, which a lot of people look at the matchup with the Notre Dame offensive line and say, oh, that might be problematic. But they do get some starters back this week. Most teams get better week 1 to week 2. They lost a lot on that front line defensively as far as graduation.
Right.
How do you think they're going to fare against the Notre Dame offensive line, and what do you think they're going to do early on? Do you expect them to be a little bit aggressive, or do you expect them to do kind of save things and see how things go and just see how Notre Dame is going to play things early on?
So let me correct you just a little bit there. They
Okay.
lost a lot in the linebacking core. We lost 2 starting linebackers who were 4-year guys who, they were starters when my hairline was holding firm. And as you can see, that I'm bald as can be these days. But with that being said, the defensive line they're very experienced, and I think one of the best things that can happen in these early season games happen to NC State. I'm a firm believer that if you're gonna learn a lesson in the win. Don't walk out of there limping out of there. Some of our impact players did not play well. So you talk about some of the big gashing runs. If you take away 2 runs from UConn in that game, I believe their longest run was 75 yards. Their second longest run was about 30 some odd, and they only had about 150, 160 yards rushing. So that's exactly what I mean in terms of they did not play that poorly. However, the plays that did gash them went at some of our stars, which is what I love to see, because that's telling the guys who were supposed to be big names, hey, you looking ahead to Joe Alt, brother, you got a tackle right here in front of you that can cut you off on the backside. And we all know the rules in football. If you get out of your gap, the ball will find it. And so we had multiple guys that way, but like you said, they're getting Savion Jackson back. You obviously are looking at Davin Van as a guy to be an impact. You look at CJ Clark as another guy to be an impact player. And so this ultimately will come down to, can Notre Dame play bully ball as they have done all year? A combined score in their first 2 games of 98-6. I mean, oh, geez Louise, no mas. They're putting on that scoreboard something crazy. And with that being said, this is very simply going to be about, can Notre Dame impose their will early? Can NC State stop them from imposing their will early? And also the matchup of, can this NC State secondary, which is supposed to be one of the best in the nation, which I believe on tape, they showed it last game. I'm gonna tell you, the boys need to hit the jug machine now. They have more drops to speaker knockers.
They play a defense.
They have more drops to speaker knockers in 08. Now that was a little bit of a problem. But with that being said, it's the matchup of, can these unproven Notre Dame receivers win their one-on-ones against NC State? Because if the ball is ran well, I don't know why y'all out there lying. They estimating how much he weighs, because ain't no way that boy's 225. Ain't no way. No. I know what 225 look like.
50 and up.
That's what I looked at him and I said, that man is no lighter than 240. Why y'all sitting up there? He 2 biscuits away from 265.
He runs heavy too. He run like,
oh yeah,
he does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which number 7 is bigger in your opinion, Estime or Maffa from Clemson?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I've seen Maffa in person. I've seen Maffa like in person this year. I was at the Duke Clemson game, and he looked like a load. But I don't know if it's just because I saw Estime on TV and the camera add 10 pounds. Yeah. But even with him and Maffa, I'm looking like, I don't know. Again, y'all coming to the state of North Carolina. I know y'all don't got Bojangles in Indiana, but he looked 2 Bo-Berry biscuits away from Marcus Freeman. Said, hey, brother, put your hand in the dirt. Let's just try it out. Let's just try it out. Let's see how you can get after a quarterback just a little bit. Just one or 2 times. So,
especially putting that ball on the ground.
Wide receivers can't drop the ball. Running backs can't fumble the ball. Those are 2 things that I see you get transferred to the other side real quick.
How important is Brennan Armstrong offensively in this game?
Yeah. So I'll say this. The quarterback is the most important position in football. We've got all these rules created to make freedom of movement and all that good stuff. But I'm going to tell you this. Brennan Armstrong is always going to be vitally important to this offense, because Robert Anae wants to push the ball down the field. Brennan Armstrong has proved that he can do so at a high level. What NC State fans are waiting for is to see that Virginia offense come back. The only problem is last week, the offensive line was losing one-on-one battles to UConn's defensive line. Now, UConn's defensive line is a lot better than everybody thinks. I am promising you, at the end of the season, they will be probably top 3rd of the country in sacks. I have no doubt about that.
Jim Moore's doing a heck of a job with that
He
program.
is. He is.
Yeah,
They got
yeah.
better and better as the season went on. Their 31-point loss to NC State was their last loss by 2 touchdowns or more all last season. So, that's a team that's constantly getting better. With that being said, their defensive line was good. And the question is, can the offensive line hold up to allow Brennan Armstrong to throw the ball out and get it deep? Because, I like to I don't know if y'all are wrestling fans or not, but I say that Brennan Armstrong is the Jeff Hardy of college football. That man don't care. He'll put his body on the line. He going off the top rope. He jumping off tables, ladders, and chairs. Oh, my. He'll do whatever it takes to get the first down, which is good. It's good in theory. You can do that against UConn. Those boys from Notre Dame, those gold helmets, they come with a little more weight behind them. We just talked about Estimate, but even the entire defense, a bunch of linebackers that have been there. I believe y'all got, 3 fifth-year linebackers that are playing a lot? Like,
dudes that don't want to go home. They just
again,
sticking around.
Hey, listen. Y'all get on LinkedIn. All of y'all. Stop it. Stop it.
That's right. That's what we tell.
Go on to graduate now. And NC State ain't innocent because Rosner on his 8th year. You too, brother. You 26.
Right.
Go ahead and get on LinkedIn, big dog. Go ahead. I'm just saying. But in all seriousness, this game, Brennan Armstrong is going to be important. But I think what's going to be more important is can the offensive line hold up against Notre Dame's defensive line? This game will be won and lost in the trenches more than anything else.
Psychologically, what's a win do, or does a loss impact you guys this season that much going into ACC play, going into the rest of the season? Because some teams in these situations with the team that they're playing, you think of Oregon when they played Georgia early on, took them out psychologically real early, first game of the season. It kind of messed them up towards the end. Mm-hmm. For you guys, I know it's a big game, and it's Notre Dame. Not many people are thinking that you guys are favored, but psychologically, what's it like for you guys going into this game?
So I'll say this. Everything is contagious. Everything is contagious. And what do I mean by that? Y'all see what's happening with Clemson right now, now that they lost that first game? Everybody, the ice ain't as cold, the jokes ain't as funny, your old lady ain't as pretty, nothing is as good. You start looking at all of a sudden is that a beauty mark or a mole? Which one is? Hold on now.
That's right.
But that's what happens when you lose, right? That's what happens when that happens. And NC State, this is a credit to Doran. NC State is no longer in the moral victory stage of this thing. Like there was a stage where, we played them close. That's what matters. I was part of Doran's first ever recruiting class. If we played a team close, if we played a Clemson or Florida State close, the fans were excited. Oh, that's optimism right there. We were one play away. We almost got them. Now he's in that stage where it's show and prove time, brother. You've got to win these games and all that. And so if there is a loss here, I think it sets them back. But if it depends on how the loss goes. If you have a close loss, you hang your head, you lick your wounds, but you say, don't let one loss turn into 2, and you get going for the next game. If we see a Georgia and Oregon situation, that's a totally different story. But on the flip side of that, a win is also contagious. Now a win has you saying, hey, we told y'all Sam Hartman is 1-2 against us, baby. He ain't never won in Raleigh. He's 0-3 now. He's another one of the boys. He may not.
I'm not gonna do no Gatorade shower on the coach, though, are y'all?
Oh, he's no Gatorade shower.
Are they rushing the field?
Gatorade shower, but they're rushing that field. They're rushing that field. What did NBA YoungBoy say? It's a parade inside my city. It's a parade inside of Raleigh. The city of
early. You gonna rush the field third game of the year?
But here's the thing. You got to understand, Notre Dame is like a pseudo – Notre Dame is such a big brand that I don't think many Notre Dame fans realize this. Y'all have more teams that are like y'all pseudo rivals than you realize. NC State is one of those teams, thanks to our head strength and conditioning coach, Antonio Burnett, who was there with Phillip Rivers and all that, way back in that Gator Bowl that they beat the Fighting Irish. And it's been ever since then. It's been a thing of like NC State, like, yeah, we can hang with them, we can beat them. This is so it's that same type of deal that they're gonna rush the field. You know what I mean? Like this is a team that again they've dominated early. And I'll tell you this. I'll be happy. I've been wrong in the past. I'll be wrong again in the future. I talk a lot on there and about different things with sports, and we all know none of us are clairvoyant. If we were, I'd go to FanDuel and run it up. I'd never work again today. My parlays would be busting, baby. But with that being said, this is a very simple thing of I predicted Notre Dame to be a playoff team or at least closer to the playoffs than Georgia this year. So I'd be happy to eat some crow if NC State comes in and pulls off an upset here. But even with that being said, in Notre Dame's case, they still would have a path to the playoffs, even if they lost this game to NC State. So, just a thought there.
I don't know if Notre Dame fans would agree with that.
Yeah, bad.
But-
I mean, so here's my thing. If you look at Notre Dame's schedule, it sets up in a way that even if they lost this game, let's say USC runs through their schedule like Tomb Raiders. Let's see that they just dominate everybody. They whoop CU and Travis Hunter and Shador and all them. They whoop on everybody else. And then they lose to Notre Dame. What then happens to a one-loss Notre Dame that goes through their schedule? Again, we just saw the way that they laid it on Navy thick. I said, all right, call in the Air Force and the Army too. For Christ's sake. I know that they'd be in international waters over there in Ireland. Ain't technically our territory, but go do something. Help them boys out. Our service members ain't supposed to get dead like this. And then, Tennessee State, more power to them.
They got a nice check out of it.
That was Notre Dame's first ever game against the FCS team. Like, you expected that. You expected it not too much. If Notre Dame,
the Tennessee State alum showed up. They threw some nice parties, boy. South Bend has never been that lit.
Oh, I bet. Listen, it's different. It's a difference between line dancing and hitting the electric slide. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna just leave that there. You know what I mean? When you hear that, it's electric. It hits a little different. You know what I mean? So, but in all seriousness, this is. I know that the fans wouldn't necessarily agree with me because I know Notre Dame fans have a standard of excellence and like, we need to go undefeated every year to get there. But there's still a path for them. If they were to lose this game to get to the playoff. That's very much so not a thing where it's like all of our goals are dead now because we lost this game.
Yeah. So let's get to it. Hey man, how close is Dabo to losing his grip?
Who?
Let me tell you something, man. Dabo, in my opinion, kind of set himself up the early stages of this new evolution of college football.
Yeah, he did.
And it's cool being that we talked about it yesterday. It's so many different ways to be a principled man.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders is a principled man.
Absolutely.
Right? Nick Saban is a principled man.
Absolutely.
So standing up there trying to be a principled man, preaching from your soapbox, that's cool.
It's cool.
But ultimately, you have a job to do. And if you're not willing to do what's necessary as college football evolves to do the job,
and your way's not working,
and your way's not working, exactly, my brother. I don't know this Clemson program because people want to go to the coaching, and I look on the field, I don't see a T. Higgins, I don't see a D. Hop, I don't see a Trevor Lawrence. Like I see some 4 stars, and you can tell, they got a roster full of 4 and 5 stars. Yeah, but I don't see those dudes.
I don't see no dudes yet.
Well, let me tell you, I'm gonna say this again. If you ever seen Iron Man 2, right? When Whiplash was talking to him and he said, how do you make people cease to believe in a God? You make them bleed. That's the same thing that's happening with Dabo right now. Last year, the bleeding started. And now the sharks are out in the water big time. They can smell it. That drop of blood. We got all we need. We need. And so with that being said, I think that Dabo has backed himself into a corner, but I think this is a corner that he can easily get himself out of. Let Garrett Riley call the plays as he wants to. I think one of the most damning things that has come out of this loss and everything is Dabo Swinney saying, we didn't bring in Garrett Riley to run Garrett Riley's offense. We brought him in to coordinate Clemson's offense. My brother in Christ, what under God's green earth are you talking about? I wanted to say something else, but I think y'all got a clean rating on YouTube, and I want to demonetize y'all, boys. But what under God's green earth?
Wasn't that confusing? The fact that Garrett Riley caught straight bullets and Clemson ran for over 200 yards.
Yeah.
But they put up 400 yards of offense. I didn't see their offense as a problem.
Yeah.
They just gave the game away.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something. There is a saying that I heard from one of my coaches when I was a child, and I never let it go. Big time players make big time plays in big time moments.
Yeah.
And the reality is, at the moment of truth, Clemson choked up plenty of times. Yeah. When they missed 2 field goals that are inside 40 yards. When you're doing this, when you're on the sideline telling your kicker the trajectory the kick should go at, brother, it's too late. You should have did that again. When Barrett Carter is saying after the game, I'm not in football shape. Why are you not in football shape? Yeah. Why are you not? and this is my biggest problem with the conference realignment conversations, because everybody's talking about we need more money. We need more money. You see how much money Clemson got? How many other ACC teams complained about not being in game shape in week 1? Duke ain't say nothing about it. And them boys, with all due respect, Duke football does not have the facilities of Clemson. Nowhere near. So I think that Dabo he has established himself enough to get an actual down year. He can get 1 year. However, that next year needs to start off early and popping. They need to dominate from jump. Leave no doubt.
What's a down year, though?
And this is why I said one actual down year, because many people said last year was a down year for Clemson. But let's look at their achievements last year. They double-digit wins, won the ACC championship game by double digits. They dominated UNC in a way that was like, are you sure they're supposed to be here? Which they weren't, but that's another story for another time.
Which they weren't.
I mean, it's I'm an NC State guy. Anytime I get to take down the Tar Heels, you know what I mean? People used to think I wore knockoff Jordan because I was broke. That is why. But, I also say it's because I just can't get money to Jordan. But that's neither here nor there. The reality is that is a team that last year won a conference championship, went to a New Year's Six Bowl, did all the things that you would say, hey, anybody else in the conference, if UNC does that last year, they're celebrated. They build Mac Brown a statue. If NC State does that last year, they're celebrated. They build Dave Dorn a statue. Virginia Tech, same thing. They would love to have that type of year. Virginia, so many other teams. Of all the teams in the conference, I don't think a single one of them would have complained if they had Clemson's year last year. So that's not a down year. A down year to me, 7 to 8 wins.
They're going to lose 5 games.
And that's what I'm saying. 7 to 8 wins or less. If they have 7 to 8 wins or less, that's the down year that Dabo will get 1. Everybody gets 1 once you win a couple national championships. But he has set the bar for those Clemson fans. They are spoiled. They cannot take no. What do you mean? We 2 years out the playoffs, baby. What you? Hold on now. Chris Paul said that he got addicted to going to the finals, and I wanted to congratulate him because I've never seen somebody kick an addiction so fast in my life. That brother got the monkey off his back immediately. Clemson fans, it's a little different. It's a little different. They've been going back again and again. Listen, I'm just saying, Chris, if you listen to this podcast, we will get you your 1 year clean chip, your 2 year clean chip, because we know, brother, we know. So don't worry about it. But with that being said, in all seriousness, Clemson fans have gotten used to it. They've now said that's the standard, and so he'll get 1 actual down year. Now, if he has 2,
blame it on. They can't let the year go unblamed. They gotta blame it on somebody.
And here's the thing: they'll blame it on Dabo. They'll blame it on Dabo.
He don't like taking no bullets. We done seen Dabo when his feet were to the fire before, how he's responded. He's going to blame, deflect. He's going to look at everything else, but at the same time, is Clemson going to allow 5 games to just be lost like that? Because that's where they're headed. So they're losing a lot this year.
And so my defensive line coach in college, Ryan Nielsen, gave me a great phrase I'd never heard until I got to college. He said, anytime you point a finger, you got at least 3 pointing back at you. You got at least 3 pointing back at you. Here's the thing. Clemson fans can hear all that. Oh, yeah, we're blaming this for this happening, blaming that for that happening. When you win the 10, 11, 12, 13 games, you can, Dabo can deflect all he wants. But when this year hits and you're looking at a team that could potentially lose 5, 6, maybe even 7 games, now all of a sudden, all right, our patience is wearing thin, but we can't get rid of a national champ after 1 year, because then the question becomes, who do you replace him with? Who do you replace him with that is happy to come to Clemson, South Carolina, and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to turn this thing into a powerhouse the same way Dabo did? Who's out there that on the coaching market that wants to be in Clemson, South Carolina right away? You'd have to think of somebody.
But is it a viable place now? Is it up there with them traditional programs that you can't say no to because of the success?
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think that they are. I don't think that they have that status of, if Clemson gives you a job offer, you can't say no. I don't think they have that status. I think that
they go back to a regular ACC team.
Yeah, I think that there are certain blue bloods. There are certain blue bloods that you can't say no to. Notre Dame is one of them. If Notre Dame calls you, I don't care what you're doing, unless you're at a Michigan, Ohio State, Florida, Texas, maybe Miami. Because I'm gonna tell you,
nice weather at USC.
Yeah, those are schools that even if Notre Dame called you, you're like, I'm not so sure. Everywhere else in the country, hey, listen, I'm gonna send my players a text. Hey, Hey, listen, the old ball coach cares about you, man. I love you. I'd love to be here for forever. But, I've got to do what's best for my family. You did what's best for your family and coming here. I got to do what's best for my family and going to South Bend, all right? So, hey, I love you guys. I'm going to bring some of you with me, okay? I saw how Dion did it. He bought his Louis. Well, y'all are Gucci. You're coming with me, okay? That's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? That's just what's going to happen. But I don't think Clemson has that cachet quite yet to where – like they've had sustained success over decades to the point where it's like, we can't pass up this job regardless. Now, again, if you have a coach that's from the Southeast that is looking to get back to the Southeast, like a Dan Lanning or something like that, and he turns Oregon into a perennial champion and all that good stuff, then you could see something like that. But I don't think that it's a job to where if they call you, you answer and you go right away. I don't think it's that.
You know how a prize fighter that's undefeated loses that first fight?
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden they just never get it back. Kind of like Errol Spence, right? Like we're like, why are you asking for this rematch, bro? Like,
why are you doing this?
This ain't going good. And if you step it up after this rematch, we see you maybe losing again and ended up with 3 or 4 losses before you have to retire. To me, that's what that Notre Dame game last year was for Clemson. It might end up, because I don't know if that program has recovered physically from how they were dominated. It wasn't the fact that Notre Dame beat them. Notre Dame lined up and just whooped their tails for 4 quarters. Right. And then you see them lose that game late against South Carolina. Mm-hmm. They win the ACC championship, but then they kind of make mistakes and have a chance early against Tennessee, but then they get dominated. But then they come out and get physically dominated against Duke and kind of it for me, September 23rd, because I still think they have a chance to kind of correct things.
Yeah.
From a talent standpoint. I think they're talented enough. They did Florida State at home, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if Dabo is going to get things in order, as much as people now are saying, okay, Florida State's ready to roll up in there and just the way they look against LSU, Florida State's about to roll up in there and just kill Clemson. I really don't think they're just going to roll up and clear. I think it's going to be a 4th quarter game.
So let me say this. It's week 1. It's college football. And here's the greatest thing about college football. College football coming back is the first national football that everybody can talk about together. Because high school football is different. We know high school football is being played, but high school football is regional. You know what I mean? Like if I tell somebody from Arizona, I play for Cass Tech, they don't know the cachet that has. The same way folks from the Midwest would say, oh, you play for Cass? Okay, all right. If I play for Don Bosco Prep, right? Same thing, right? That's how that rolls. It's regional in terms of that. Even the big national schools, your IMGs, your Bishop Gormans, they're not talked about throughout the country in that way that college football is. College football, because it now garners national eyes every single game, you're going to see overreactions in week 1 because people are ready to get a takeoff. I ain't got a takeoff that's based on football in 5 months. I got to say something. Let's calm down. I understand that Clemson is looking like they're on the decline. Again, Clemson got tapped out. I know Sugar Ray versus Roberto Duran when I see it. I know when you don't want to get off that stool. No mas. I know when you get no mas. They got no mas in that game. I understand that. They got no mas. I understand that. But with that being said, these are still the Clemson Tigers. This is still a team that we're looking at game 1 with Garrett Riley and Cade Klubnik and company. As they get better and more aligned in terms of this is what the offense needs to look like, this is what we need to do to win. As they get their kicking situation figured out, because how demoralizing is it to think to yourself as an offense, even if we get down to the 10-yard line, I'm not sure if we can kick this ball in because both kicks didn't miss. They were both blocked. That's much more problematic than a miss because now you're looking around saying, all right, is his trajectory off? Are we not protecting? Do they know something about our protection that now we got a touchdown every time? You're putting too much pressure on yourself. You're not just playing within the flow of the game. So while I am excited as everybody to talk about Dabo and all of that's going on down there, I would urge everybody around the nation, in the words of I believe it was what was it? New Edition. You got to cool it now. To tell me, trust me, everybody wants to scream that Clemson's over. Let's give it a second. Let's let it breathe. By week 4 to 5, we will fully know what this team is and what they're not, just like a lot of teams around the country. as well as Florida State played to end that game off. There were multiple moments that if Brian Kelly doesn't wet the bed, if he knows what a halftime adjustment looks like, this team very easily wins that game. If every time Keon Coleman sees number 22 on him, he's giving the sign for a fade ball, what does that mean?
He's literally giving the sign.
He gave the sign multiple times for a fade. If I see that out of one of my corners, and not only is he giving a fade, because every receiver is overconfident. Every receiver thinks that they're always open.
He's 6'4" and he run like
I don't care how big and fast you are. If I see you burning my guy multiple times, all right, guys. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna bracket him. Okay. You play inside and underneath, you play outside and over the top. When he runs that fade ball, listen, we're stopping the run. And this is the part that killed me about Brian Kelly. They were stopping the run without committing extra bodies to the box.
Yeah.
Why are you only playing single high? What are you doing? What's going through your head?
That LSU DBU trash.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't listen, let me tell you something. DBU, ECU, LBU don't matter. Don't matter. If I see my corner looking at the back of a receiver's head like a good barber, at some point in time, I'm gonna send a safety over there. I'm gonna send a Hey, listen, we'll correct this. We'll look at the film, but brother, you need some help. You need some help. So we're gonna get you some help. And whoever got Johnny Wilson, you got him one up. Whoever got Tofili, you got him one up. Whoever got these tight ends, you got them one up. But that number 4, he's moving different. He's moving different. So we need to do something different to help out with that.
To the house.
But again, LSU was another team that got no moss. They got tapped out as well. So now everybody's saying Florida State is the greatest thing in the world. Well, when has Brian Kelly ever won a big game? When has Brian Kelly ever had his team show up in a big game?
He
tried to forewarn LSU.
Wait a minute, he won his Bama game, and he
listen. I'll give you that.
You said he won what? Oh, last year. Okay.
But let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, okay? Because I'm a big believer in all things are about relationships, and I'm not one of those football is life people, but you can look at football and draw a lot of comparisons to life. Now, let's say you had an old lady, okay? And every time y'all was supposed to go out on a date, there was always something that came up, okay? And then 10 times that y'all had set a date to go out, one time y'all actually go on the date, and the other 9 times she flake on you. Are you going to sit up here and say, yeah, that's the woman of my dreams there? I don't care what she looked like, how good she is. I don't care if she can eat a cookout shake without a straw, okay? I'm telling you right now, you will still be sitting up there saying to yourself, now, wait a minute. Hold on, something ain't right here. Brian Kelly is that. He showed up and did his big one that one time. Every other time it's a big game on the floor, what happens? Boys get ran up off the field. And the worst part is the first half is generally close. And then all of a sudden in that second half, they get blown out. So what does that mean? You have the horses in the stable to win the game, but your coaching does not shine through. And I'm going to tell you, I've watched football in a way. I watch the all 22. Don't worry about how I get it. But I call around, call my sources, call up. I get the all 22. And when you watch certain teams, you can see a team is coached well. They make adjustments. And you can see when the team is not. When I watched Deion in Colorado last week, everybody talks about Travis Hunter's interception. People don't talk about the fact that the old saying goes, and Malik, you know this because you play football, coaches coach you through the first 3 to 5 steps. Everything after that is you being an athlete. Now, if you watch that interception that Travis Hunter called, what happened on that play? They ran what you would call slant flats on Madden, but that really wasn't what happened. They set 2 picks on the inside defenders, got the running back to the flat, and trusted that the corner was going to go with wide receiver number 1 inside. Boom, easy flat touchdown. What happens instead? Every defender from Colorado, by that 3rd to 5th step, all of them, their eye discipline, the Mike linebacker goes, all right, wait, I got the back. No, I don't. Somebody's going away. Somebody's coming to play. His eye snapped to the next man. The corner that was over the slot, his eye snapped to the next man. And Travis snaps to the running back. That is what I mean by you can see when guys are coached well and when they're playing ball at a high level because of coaching. And that's something I did not see from LSU. I didn't see the plays where I looked at them and said, in the second half, this is a well-coached team. They knew what was coming. They knew exactly what was happening here. So I'm looking at Brian Kelly saying, all right, brother, I'm not going by the exception. I'm going by the rule. The rule is you don't show up for big games, especially in the second half. So I can't fool with you. I can't trust you. And at the end of the day, that's what I saw against Florida State. So does that make Florida State a great team? Or does that make Florida State a team that You took advantage of a coach failing to adjust like he always does.
Yeah, that's fact.
Look, I watched that game. I had the same sentiments you had. Because I felt like I'm watching the same thing I watched when Notre Dame walked in as a double-digit favorite to Florida State to start the season 2 years ago.
Yep.
And we're going to overtime trying to figure out, like, why are we in overtime with this Florida State team? Because at that program, Mike Norville didn't have that program anywhere near as talented as they are now. And you're absolutely right. I looked at the coaching in that game and I said, I think Florida State had some big coaching mishaps.
Yeah.
In that game.
And that's ultimately why I'm looking at, again, week 1 shows us the picture of who teams are relative to each other in that head-to-head matchup. I'm not ready to crown anybody or say anybody's terrible after 1 week. I'm not ready to do it. Even Oregon last year when they got absolutely blasted by Georgia, I said, that team looks rough. That team looks rough now, but who knows what they could be. And Georgia could just be that good. They could just be head and shoulders above everybody in that way. They proved themselves to be that. And so I'm not ready to fold in on anybody or call anybody the new greatness yet. However, some of y'all are on fraud watch. Looking at you, Dabo. Looking at you. Looking at y'all. Some of y'all are on fraud watch. Looking at you, Brian Kelly. Looking at you, LSU. Looking at you, Jaden Dane. We watching you,
Are you going to put Sark and Texas on fraud watch based upon how this weekend goes?
I'll tell you this. Sark can absolutely be put on fraud watch. And let me tell you why. Everybody, Texas and Miami, I don't know what it is about those two teams, but they wasn't even screaming the Rockets back this much in 03. I have never seen anybody that everybody wants to be back this bad. I ain't never seen it in my life. They beat these teams. Both of those teams could beat the Southeastern Delta Valley Directional School for the Differently Able, and all of a sudden, Texas is back. They back.
Dallas Cowboys the same way. It's the Texas teams get overinflated. I do not like that.
I'll tell you what, they ready to scream they back after one game. But I'm gonna tell you
that Texas A&M Miami is like the fraud matchup of the week. Then
trust me, because everybody in that game is on fraud watch because Jimbo been on fraud watch for a minute. Now, Fake Watch Buster came
last year. He had all 5 stars. Oh yeah. Jimbo.
They said that's the best team money could buy. Some of them boys is gonna be taking a pay cut going to the NFL. I said, wait, you think all? I said y'all think all them going to the NFL? Hold on now. You think all them boys out of College Station going to the NFL? Whoa. So with that being said, this is a fraud watch game all around. Jimbo, you coaching for your life, brother, because all that money that they putting into that program in College Station. If you look at the NIL numbers, Texas A&M is never worse than like 4th or 5th. Never. And so to see that you're the 4th or 5th best team in your division in the SEC, oh, brother, you're
ain't paying for that.
As Ralphie said on The Simpsons, I'm in danger. Because Jimbo, that's where you at, brother. You in some hot water. That seat gonna get hot as fish grease pretty soon. But both of those teams are on that watch. I would say Miami's not on fraud watch as much because Miami fans have finally accepted they're in a rebuild right now. They know that they're in a rebuild. Texas, however, they believe we're on the back end of a rebuild. We got Quinn, we got Archie, we got all these ball players. Oh, man, we got, we got what we need now. We got to hear what you want. Okay, all right. You played Alabama close last year, and everybody got excited because y'all were in the moral victory stage. You have now moved into there are no more moral victories. You have to win this ball game outright. If Money Mill Row looks like Money Mill Row against y'all, instead of, hey, get number 4 out the game. If that's the case, guess what? Texas, Sark, they're going to ask some questions about you, brother. They're going to ask some questions about, and listen, we love you, Sark. We glad to hear about your comeback story and all that you've been through and getting back on the right path. America loves a comeback story. America loves them some Longhorn football. But guess what? If y'all get exposed in this game, if you get the wheels whooped off you in this game, oh, man, that opinion going to shift on you.
Oh, man.
Before we let Ken Gibbs, who was gracious enough to join us today, leaves us on today, man, we want to give him an opportunity to educate my co-host. My co-host seems to think that the quarterback in South Carolina is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Talent-wise, yes.
I mean, he's going. He's in the NFL draft, and
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this. I liken Spencer Rattler to idolatry version of Aaron Rodgers. And let me tell you why I say that. And listen, this ain't disrespect. This ain't disrespect because I actually agree with Malik that when it comes to just raw talent, when it comes to in a complete void of everything else, in a void of his attitude, the way teammates view him, the stuff going on with his family, and whether or not his father is too involved and all that, in a void away from all that, you're looking at one of the most talented quarterbacks we've seen in some time. If you watch that game against UNC, that boy was running around for his life. They were after that boy like it was a pack of ferrets on the first day of hunting season. They were after him in a way that I ain't seen in a while. I mean, good grief, they were on his head.
Reminded me of that DeAndre Francois game versus Ole Miss. His ass up. That O-line was not even existent.
And here's the worst part. North Carolina put up better numbers defensively this year against South Carolina than they did against FAMU last year. I want you to think about that for a second. They didn't have 8 sacks against FAMU. FAMU had positive rushing yards. South Carolina negative. So
wait, FAMU, and they just beat Jackson State to half the sleep.
And listen, go Rattlers. We gonna show you your love, Rattlers. You know we believe in. Hey, I'm never gonna down to HBCU unnecessarily. That's just not in my constitution as a man. But with that being said, if we're looking at South Carolina, we're talking SEC football here, and it just means more. Well, blocking sure as hell didn't mean more to them boys last week. I don't know what they had going on. The defense made Drake May look human. They made Superman and Baby Blue look human, and the offense couldn't piss a lick. So Spencer Rattler, I agree, Malik, in terms of, again, if you strip away the intangibles, if you strip away the body language, if you strip away the pouting on the sideline at Oklahoma and all that, in a complete void, again, it's the same thing that you do with Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers, if you look at his talent away from everything else, he is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever do it. But when you add in, does anybody actually like this guy? Like, does anybody actually say, like, oh, man, I love me some, and don't get me wrong, of course you're going to have his teammates who like, oh, yeah, David Bakhtiari, I'm sure love him. Randall Cobb, he's been dragging around that bag of bones we call Randall Cobb for the last 4-5 years. Of course Randall Cobb going to like him. There's the reason he's employed. But it's a situation where Spencer Rattler, uber talented, if he can get in a good situation and if he can get his head right, because he's a little bit of a head case, according to what we've seen. Again, I don't know everything about what's going on in the inner workings, but I know when I see a quarterback on the sideline, towel over his head, arms folded, I don't really want to be here. That's bad body language. That's bad. That's a cancer that spreads throughout your team. So I understand him being taken out as a starter and Caleb Williams being put in. I understand that because they're on a similar talent level, but you ain't seen those same things from Caleb. You have not seen the same things in terms of, I'm not sure if I want to be, this ain't look bad. So with that being said, as much as I would love, because I hate quarterbacks. I'm a defensive lineman, baby. There's something in me that I've been looking at Malik all episode like, you all right up there? Because I don't trust quarterbacks. You know what I mean? You got to tap your pockets, hold them down when you're around quarterbacks. But with that being said, Malik is right. Spencer is uber talented. He just got a lot of other things everything outside the talent is questionable at best with the ball. Questionable at best.
Questionable at best.
So before left, we have to get Kenton in on the question of the day.
Let's do it. What's the question?
First of all, you're from Detroit.
Yes, sir. West Side born and raised.
I don't know where you're gonna go on this.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully reasonable side.
Do you put sugar in your grits?
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna say this. When I was a lot of people don't know this story about me, but I'm gonna tell it to everybody right now. Okay. When I was working at WRAL, it's the largest news station in Central North Carolina. Number one news station, all that. What people don't realize is news don't pay nothing. You are getting paid in friendships and handshakes, basically. And so, with that being said, I had to come up. Everybody got to have a struggle meal. It's like an offense. They got that one play that they run everything off of, be it inside zone, be it power, be it whatever. So in your budget, you got to do the same thing if you're struggling. You got to find that one meal that's your basis. My one meal was grits. I knew literally 100 different ways to make that thing up. I knew some shrimp and grits. I knew some shrimp and chicken. I knew some grits with the shrimp and chicken, all that. I knew some grits with the pepper in it. I knew some grits with a little bit of cornmeal in it, with brown sugar in it, with regular sugar. I made grits every way you can imagine. So I'm going to say this. When you talking grits, sugar and grits, or salt and pepper and grits, when I'm normal me and I'm doing well financially, I'm a salt and pepper guy. But if I'm salt, pepper, and butter and a little bit of cheese in it, that's the guy I am when I'm all right.
That's the standard way.
But when I'm struggling, baby, just give me the grits and get out the way. I'll figure it out, okay? I'll hit you with the Kobe Bryant. You know what this means. Get out the way. Get out the way and let me get them grits. I'll make it happen. So, I don't judge the sugar and grits people because I've had it. It's not bad. It's not bad. It is, if you ever seen soul food, you are going to get the Big Mama in your arm messing around with that. But, I ain't going to say I've never had it. So I'm a salt pepper.
What's the craziest thing you ever did from a food with your combination? I'll give you a reason. I told Malik, we were talking about crazy combinations. So we were talking about, hey, if you're gonna do sugar and grits, you might as well do cream of wheat. Just go all the way.
Right,
just
right,
do the cream of wheat, and it's cool. And so I was sharing with Malik. I said, man, when I was a youngster in Chicago, my mother, for some reason, used to bake cheddar cheese on top of her apple pie. And so as a kid, I said, man, let me taste that. And I tasted it, and I was like, yo, I kind of like it. So it stuck with me until adulthood. So I told Malik about it. And Malik was like, that's crazy. And of course, a bunch of people in the chat were like, yo, yeah, that's a Dutch-German thing. Like it's known. It's a known combination. Right. And so I was like, man, that's crazy to you? And he was like, yo, that's crazy. Like, who puts cheddar cheese on top of apple pie? What's the craziest combination of thing that you suggest to people? Like, yo, hey, you might want to try this. It sounds crazy, but I'm telling you.
All right, so I'll break you off with two. I'll break you off with two. One is my personal recipe. One is a family recipe. So one thing that's big about me, I'm big on honey. I like honey as a sweetener is so powerful. It's a game changer because it doesn't, for whatever reason, when you heat up honey, it doesn't have that same overly sweet deal that sugar has. Okay, so honey on chicken is immaculate. Honey on fried chicken. If you get that fried chicken crisp right, and you put that honey on that,
you got to come to Honey Kettle. Honey Kettle.
Yeah. I'm telling you.
So is there a spot? Is it a spot out there that you hit up for that?
So if y'all gonna be in Raleigh, for this game, Beasley's Chicken and Waffles. You can get the chicken with honey on it at Beasley. I don't think that they do it quite like I do it, but I think they do a decent job with it. You could tell it ain't us necessarily back there cooking it, if you know what I'm saying. That's neither here nor there. The second one is a family recipe. Auntie Lynn, don't get mad at me. I love you, Auntie. I know you're gonna be watching this. She's been with me since I was a little kid. When I was in Little League and my shoe came off in the game, she jumped over the fence, hopped on the field, put it back on the towel for me. So Auntie Lynn, I love you, baby. I know you're gonna be watching this, but she does this broccoli and honey in the cornbread that goes crazy. I know.
I would try that.
It sounds bad. But I'm telling you, broccoli and honey in her cornbread, I don't know how she does it, but the combination, it just works. And listen, Malik, the first time I saw it, I did the same thing. I would never forget it. I was about 4 years old, and I went over there for Christmas, and I'm like, oh, yay. Like, at this time, I didn't have a concept of like, oh, this should go with this or that should go with that or whatever the case may be. I'm eating the cornbread. And I'm like, hey, what's this kind of mushy thing we got going on here? What's this? And then I look at the bottom of it. I'm like, Ma, is the cornbread spoiled? She said, fool, that's broccoli. Just keep on eating. You liked it, didn't you? And I was a tubby kid. I ain't gonna lie to you, okay? The muscles came after puberty. Before then, I was shaped like the number 0, looking like a little Michelin man around there. So, I wasn't gonna stop eating, but that's a combination that I'll tell you. Every day and twice on Sunday, man. If my auntie make that pot or that skillet of cornbread with broccoli in it, oh, I'm all over it. I'm on it tougher than UNC was on Spencer Rattler behind. I'm gonna tell you that much.
I think I'm gonna give that to my mom. Like, yo, we need to try this.
Okay, now listen.
My mom does the sweet. She does the sweet cornbread with the corn in it.
Yeah. I've heard of cornbread with the corn in it. I know that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I might ask her to throw that broccoli in there. That sounds very interesting.
So give me a call, and I'm
gonna hit you up.
I can't tell you exactly how she make it because see we got to think about our family recipes. You know they already told me that they can't give me the family barbecue sauce recipe because they said, King, you love every girl you ever seen in your life, so you just gonna go give away our family sauce and somebody gonna be making money off it. I said, well, listen, I'm a lover boy. I can't help myself, but I ain't gonna give away the secret sauce.
I could tell you're a lover boy because in your analogy, you made it to date 10, bro. I wouldn't have made it to date 5. And, old girl after blowing me off, she's not getting to date maybe 3 or 5.
Well, you a Notre Dame fan, so Brian Kelly done left you standing at the aisle plenty of time. You was
plenty of time.
She gonna be coming. She gonna come any day now. The waiter coming by refilling your water. You sure you're not ready to order yet? Yeah. She'll be here.
Give me another 5 minutes.
Yeah, give us another 5. Give us another 5.
Co-host Locked On ACC with our girl C Squared, Ken Gibbs, right here on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Also co-host of Locked On Wolfpack, man. Mm-hmm. We thank you for joining us today. It's been a pleasure, man. You got to come back on with us, bro. Just to talk life in general, film, movies, everything. Yeah, we got to have you on for one of our film and music reviews.
Oh, listen, I'm a little bit of a madman when it comes to movies. I've seen way too many movies in my lifetime, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm one of those guys that for me personally, watching a new movie is like one of my favorite things to do. Be it in theaters, be it at home. If you see, everybody says, "Oh, all the movies are the same now." Well, yes, generally, but since the beginning of time, if we go back to Homer and the Odyssey up to now, stories follow a general plot line. Like that's not nothing new. You know what I mean? Right. You have a hero, you have a protagonist, antagonist, you have some conflict in there, and that's what you get. You get the antagonist looking like he's gonna win or she's gonna win, and then the victor hails. That's happens. Yeah. There's normally somebody, either a very pretty companion or a side guy with washboard abs and Chris Hemsworth coming out of nowhere. That's what movies have been for forever. So let's not stop acting like this is something new and all that good stuff. But I'm ready. I'm gonna tell you, I enjoy being on with y'all. And like I said, I'm watching quarterbacks because now I ain't gonna say, listen, I'm watching you, but it's big.
I'm gonna hit you offline, baby, when it's Bears Lions, baby.
Absolutely. Let me tell you something.
Y'all fan base been chirping real loud this offseason, boy.
And here's the thing. Of all the NFC North teams, if somebody told me, Ken, I'll give you $1 million, you got to root for somebody in the NFC North except the Lions, it would be the Bears. It would be the Bears. Because the Bears talk, but at least they got the Super Bowls to back it up. And the Bears have earned their Super Bowls. I don't remember watching the Bears games and seeing a bunch of calls where I'm just like, all right, now what's going on here? The only call I ever remember thinking that about was that Calvin Johnson catch. You know the one I'm talking about. That being established.
That was a catch.
Now listen, that catch that then established a bunch of other terrible calls that now has driven football.
Right.
It's now driven football back in the opposite direction to where they're like, all right, if you catch it and make 2 steps, it's a catch. Okay, it's a catch. Yeah, Other than that, I have not seen the Bears with a lot of calls that are like, all right, what's going on here? The way the Packers have. I don't care if it's in the middle of a neighborhood. I don't care if all y'all own it. I don't give a damn about none of that. The Packers been the NFL favorites for years, and I'm sick of it. Y'all can't help out Jordan Love. Y'all can't make him look better. So how about them?
Make him look better now.
Y'all got to watch him struggle. Y'all gonna have to watch him struggle out there.
You thinking Jared Goff as the leader of the division though?
So here's the thing.
Y'all let that fly under the radar because
here's the thing. I don't think Jared Goff doesn't have to win a bunch of ball games. He has to not lose a bunch of them. There's a difference. Malik, you know better than anybody.
Quarterback like he was at the Rams. He don't got to lose.
Yeah. So here's the thing. You can win with a quarterback, because of a quarterback, in spite of a quarterback. Tom Brady, you win because of him, right? When he's balling out, you win because of the guy. Kirk Cousins, you win with him. You know what I mean? He doesn't tear you down. He doesn't. And then you got the quarterbacks that you win in spite of. Zach Wilson last year, that type of deal where you like, brother, please help us.
On everything they could.
And that's what I'm saying. Jared Goff is a quarterback you win with. Maybe 1 or 2 games you win because of them, but for the most part, you just win with them. All the rest of the league, Kirk Cousins, when them lights get bright, that boy frees up. And I hate Vikings fans the second most because they talk crazy to Lions fans. Y'all got the same amount of Super Bowls we do. At least the Bears can talk. They got some Super Bowls. The Packers, they can talk. They talk. They got Super. Y'all ain't got no Super Bowls too. I'm sorry. Y'all got runner-up trophies, so we should be proud of y'all and the Purple People Eater from 70 years ago. We're so scared. You know, them boys.
Vikings and Lions in the same boat, is what you saying.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all in the same boat as us. Until y'all get a ring, don't say nothing to us about not having a ring. Y'all got close. Yeah, that's just what it is.
And Chicago and Detroit, most of us cousins in some way, shape, or form anyway.
Yeah, down the street.
Yeah, you know what they say. You know what they say. Detroit and Chicago, we just Alabama and Mississippians with fur coats on. You know, so we right there. We right there.
Malik, it's the funniest thing because I swear, Detroit looks at Chicago as country, and Chicago looks at Detroit people as country.
Yeah,
it's the craziest
that's exactly
thing
how
in the world.
That's
we look at each other like, man, why they sound like that?
Yeah.
I look at each other like,
why they always wearing all that gaudy jewelry? As if Dapper Dan not from Detroit. Come on now. That man put double G's on everything. I ain't never seen the double G that much. And he was a Detroiter. So that's how I roll. You know what I mean? But there is nothing but love in my heart for Chicago. Now, Minnesota and Green Bay, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, watch it. Y'all watch it now. We ain't gonna have this type of back and forth. Ain't no friendliness. Ain't no joking with y'all about y'all beating us during the season. None of that. Not a lick of it.
Lucky Lefty podcast. Hey, when you enjoy your film, man, make sure you get you some nice butter and salt. That's all you need on your popcorn.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Malik is about the different seasonings and stuff. He's
no. I'm in the butter, middle, and top. I'm not. Give me the middle and the butter in the middle and top. That's me.
It's got to be in the middle.
See, because I like when they disperse it. Put the butter.
I get what he's saying.
So when you go to the theater, do you have them stop halfway through?
Yeah.
When they stop doing it and you got to do it yourself, it'll change movies.
If you do it yourself, all you get is a wet hand on like the first couple of grabs, and then after that, the popcorn get real dry.
So you rocking it because I remember another crazy combination. Remember we talked about the popcorn with the Raisinets and how people eat the popcorn with the Raisinets. You don't do the popcorn and M&Ms and stuff like that, can you?
Let me tell you something. People who do that, you need to be on the watch list. Now, I'm not saying, listen. I'm not saying that like certain folks, you got to knock on everybody in the neighborhood door and tell them you're there. But maybe like a 5-house radius, like the 5 people immediately next to you. The house that you share an alley with, they need to know. You need to walk up to them. Hi, I'm Malik. I eat M&Ms with my popcorn.
Yeah.
Oh, honey, we need to move. This neighborhood's going down. This neighborhood, we didn't move here for this. This is not where we moved here for.
You got to
not at all.
People like that.
Exactly. You got to watch them. You got to watch it. It's just like the person that come up next to you in the stall when the whole bathroom is open and they come in the stall next to you. Brother, you need to be on the watch list. You need to be on the watch. It's 5 other urinals open and every stall open, and you come stand next to me. Put them on the watch list. Put them on the watch list, okay?
We might have to name a new segment, the watch list. Just for
put them brothers on the watch.
Every time we are hitting on, we're like, who's on the watch list, bro?
Let me tell you.
Who in sports and entertainment is on the watch list?
Let me tell you, Antonio Brown, put him on the watch list. I don't care what he got going, put him on the watch list. He need to be on there, okay? Anytime he come in the neighborhood, we need to be alerted that Antonio Brown is in your vicinity. We need to know. We need to know. But you know, Liz Cambage, we love you. Talented. Put her on the watch list. Put her on the watch list. Put her on the watch list. Put her on the watch list.
International watch list.
Hello? She on the watch list in Australia, Nigeria, America. You know, I'm just saying, put her on the watch list. You know, so if y'all ready, I'm ready when y'all are, because I got a long list of folks who need to be on some watch list now. You know.
Our boy Ken Gibbs right on the Lucky Lefty podcast. Hey, KG, we'll talk to you real soon, brother.
Absolutely. Thank y'all for having me on, man. It's been a blast.
Anytime. We're going to have you back on, man. Ken Gibbs right here, Lucky Lefty podcast, man. We appreciate him joining us. Co-host, once again, lock in with him. And also Candace Cooper, who's been on here with us. Locked on ACC, and he's also the co-host of Locked On Wolfpack.
Great.
Dude, that was a fantastic interview, bro.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic interview, bro. And you know what? He's from Detroit. I'm from Chicago, man. That's, you know, the home of the 2 greatest running backs in NFL history.
You forgot about Jim Brown. What are we talking about?
I'll say it again. The 2 greatest running backs in NFL history played in Detroit and Chicago. I'll say it again.
You forgot about that brother Jim.
I'll say it again.
Talk about that.
Jim is easy to forget about. Rest in peace, Jim Brown. No, he you know, We honor him because Jim for several reasons. Outside, I
Outside of
I
football,
respect Jim so much outside of how great he was as an
as a football
athlete.
player. Okay, I
Yeah,
get that.
just to get football, you can stick to lacrosse and talk
Yeah,
about
I
how
mean,
cold he
Ross is a
was.
bad brother. Shit, he did
You know,
movies.
if I start going to his exploits on the football field at Syracuse and like with the Browns,
Yeah, he go all day.
that goes without saying. But I think you know Barry and Walter, bro.
Yeah, they very good staples in the whole scheme of things for sure.
Mm-hmm. The staples at the centerfold. You know how you open it up to the centerfold, you can see the staples. That's Walter and that's Barry.
That's fine. They could be in the centerfold as long as Jim Brown from Cleveland is on the cover. We good with that.
Yeah, you want to be the centerfold though.
That's okay.
Yeah, you open that bad fella up, and that's yes, sir. On the on the
We're
left
gonna
is
see y'all the
Walter,
centerfold of the season this
and
year.
then
That's good.
the centerfold of the season. That's a good who Notre Dame centerfold piece at the end of the season. That'll be pretty good.
It
So
will show.
guess before we go. Oh, you know what? I know this is how we'll do this, bro. This is how we'll do this because I was about to add it into the end of the segment, but we'll just do it like this. You already know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Now, you upset with something?
and fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's petty history? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, Petty Story of the Day brought to you by Onora Whiskey and NoraWhiskey.com. The premium American whiskey and NoraWhiskey.com. So I'm up last night and I really can't fall asleep. And I'm watching SEC Network. And they have some pretty good studio shows. So I'm watching Read and React with Cole Kubelik and Roman Harper. And they do a pretty good job of film work. I enjoy that show, and all of a sudden, the next show starts out with a black screen and a familiar voice. And I'm like, hold on, I know this voice. Who is this? And it's Brian Kelly's voice. And then all of a sudden they start going to like scenes from like the last season, like the 2-pointer against Alabama and
Right.
a bowl win and all. And I'm like, and then they end up and it's like, yeah, it's an all access show of LSU football for the season.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like, oh, I got to watch this, especially week 1. Bro, Brian Kelly is the corniest. Bro, I don't even understand how LSU football players can stand and sit in front of this dude and take him seriously, bro.
Well, you knew the fake accent should have told you everything.
That's the way he walks into the meeting room and says, good morning, dude. Good morning. Good morning. Like, bro,
It's not you.
what? And his speech, like, it's not about, no, like, we don't believe you. You need more people.
Yeah.
Like, we just don't. He's just not believable, man. And the preparation, bro. I'm sitting here. They brought a snow cone machine. You know, they have a snow cone machine on the sideline at practice, bro.
Corny.
A literal icy snow cone machine.
Corny, man. Corny, man.
When they walk off the field for practice, LSU football players get icy
Corny,
snow cones.
We had something like that at Florida, though. I ain't gonna lie. We had something like that
Did
at
you?
Florida. When we got after practice, they had these slushy machines. So I can attest to it. It's not uncommon
It must be SEC stuff.
because it just be so damn hot. You know.
They said they had like 10 straight days over 100.
Yeah, like
To practice in.
the slushies be hitting too. But it like spiced up slushies, like the super hydration ones. You know, they don't taste
Gotcha.
like regular slush. They slushies. They like super concentrated slushies where you get hydrated. So I can understand that, Brian Kelly. He trying to. That's
So
standard.
I'm not suggesting that anybody else watch this. This is just one of those late nights where you just
ain't got nothing to do.
got nothing to do. But I would suggest that Notre Dame fans watch week 1 because when they get watching them get smacked all access,
It made sense.
and hearing Brian Kelly speak to them and hearing Brian Kelly speak to them in the locker room after the game and literally put everything on them.
Oh, he put
as players. He put the failure of the entire game on them.
damn.
And I said to myself, I feel vindicated as a Notre Dame fan.
That's right. That's right.
This is going nowhere. Give it a couple of years. Give it a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe Logan Diggs actually left for this.
Yeah. He thought it was a good decision. Go home. Sometimes
Man,
stay away from home.
man.
You left home the first time for a reason.
Like, bro, like, man, stand before your kids and say, man, we got to do a better job getting you guys ready.
It's
Something.
no different than Tyler Buckner following Tommy. And Tommy done got him again and put him back in that bottom position. So
Left, you're a coach, bro. Even if your kids did play awful, bro, you're going to stand in front of your kids and say, you know what? We didn't get everything done tonight. Coaches, we're going to do what we need to do to get you guys ready and make sure we do what we need to do to win the next game. That's a coach. That's a teacher. Man.
He's not a coach. He's a businessman. You know, he's looking to put people in places and manage systems. He ain't managing players. So
Lucky Lefty podcast tomorrow. Malik's 3 keys and the rest and our predictions for. I'm leaning towards a blowout, Left.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I'm definitely thinking.
I am.
You know, we'll find a way to win, especially all things weather-wise go right.
Hey, enjoy the rest of your day. Eat well. Stay away from sugar and grits.
And cheese on apple pie. Stay away from that cheese on apple pie.
Oh, man, we love you guys. Lucky Lefty podcast. Have a great day. Make sure you spend it different.